Hello guys, once again it's Matt, and today we have another video. Thank you all my members and all my patrons, and let's get into it. Subscribe, be a patron, be a member, and let's get into it. So yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more on the battle rating changes that are happening right now. So yeah, there are some weird things happening in the past couple of BR changes, this one and the last one especially. Because due to the last aircraft that were added in those BR changes that are being changed, so the like around 9.7 to 10.3 to be honest, which is the Su-25 and the A-10. Both of these aircraft are kind of complicated because they are making every other aircraft in those BR spreads being changed. A lot of aircraft are being changed because of those aircraft, which is completely insane if you think about it. The F-104A is going to 9.7. The MiG-19s, they are going to 9.3. The F-100 is in 9.3 right now. We have a lot of these Sabres that were in 9.7, 9.3, went for 9.0, 9.3. So there is many changes here. We still have the MiG-21s that are 9.3. So instead of we having actually BR decompression, we are having kind of the opposite in some of these BR spreads just due to these two aircraft, which is completely mad if you think about it. The Su-25 needs to be a higher BR, man. It needs to be. It has no place in 9.7, no place whatsoever. At least 10.0 it needs to be. But even in 10.0, it would face a lot of these lower tiers. I still think that it should be a 10.3 aircraft. It has no problem fighting MiG-21s of those BRs, F-5Cs and F-4s and stuff like that. Yes, you are slower, but in a dogfight you can win against basically any aircraft, and you have a late 70s missile. So there is literally no reason why the Su-25 is still a 9.7 aircraft, and that is coming from a guy that actually loves the Su-25 and loves the Soviet aviation. But this is just completely mad if you ask me, right? This video purpose is not to be a rant video, but yes, we are having problems just due to these two aircraft. The A-10 is a little bit better in the 10.3 department. I still think that the A-10 early should be, or the premium one obviously, should be 10.3 as well. The only difference between them are the Mavericks and the ability to carry less AIM-9s. I don't think it's that much of a big difference to be a BR difference, but still, at least 10.0 it's fine, you know. The Su-25 needs to be that as well, because think about this. Now, I mean, if we are not going to get a Su-25 higher BR, I kind of agree that the MiG-19 should be a lower BR, that the F-104 should be a lower BR, or the Sabres, the Super Sabres that got in the last BR change. But that's just due to the fact that it's less of a power creep a MiG-19 face a normal F-86 or an F-100 to face a MiG-15, because they are basically in the same era of aircraft. You know, they don't have flares, the missiles are not that great, the speed difference will be a major factor. A MiG-19 and a Super Sabre are so fast, and they don't turn as well as a MiG-15 and a Sabre or a MiG-17. So you kind of have a kind of a rock, paper, scissors kind of thing. One aircraft will be way faster than the other, but the other will destroy the other with a turn rate. So it kind of has a gameplay there, right? But once you are flying those aircraft, those Sabres, those MiG-19s, those F-104s against an R-60M, against an AIM-9L especially, it's just completely nonsense, right? I mean, it's a 1950s aircraft flying against missiles that are from the late 70s. So yeah, it's like 20-something years of difference in technology. So yeah, they are slow, but come on, they have very good technology on them. So that's the point, right? If they are going to be locking the Su-25 on a 9.7, sure, I agree that we need lower BR, but that's just making the game a little bit more BR compressed. Not only in some BRs, But if you go from 9.3 until basically top tier, you are having a very bad compression, or even going from 8.3 now, because, or even 8.0, because you're going to face a lot of these aircraft. It's going to be always very, very fun to fly with some of the aircraft and very, very bad at the others. So the problem is not even the BR itself, it's just the way that the matchmaking picks those BRs up. And because of due to the number of players playing those aircraft, for example, at start when this change happened, for example, the MiG-19s and stuff like that, they will have a large number of them flying around, which means that a lot of players that are flying 8.3s, that are flying 8.7s, they will be picked up and brought to a 9.3, 9.7 BR range, which makes them like play 90% of the matches against these up tiers, and that's what breaks the game. You know, it picks a BR that it's fine, kind of fine right now, and it brought up it to 100% up tiers. That's what happens when you fly any BR that, for example, an 11.0 right now, it kind of has a mixed feeling, a 10.7 as well, but there are some BRs that always face up tiers. You can see that on the 9.0, for example, right now, or 9.3 even, that it is almost always flying against Su-25s. Of course, this depends on the country as well. If you are flying against the USSR normally, so if you are playing, for example, with 9.0 American aircraft, you will probably get a lot of Su-25s against you. But if you are flying against a 9.3 Russian aircraft, you will be kind of fine, because the Su-25 is supposed to be in your team. So normally there's a lot of Su-25s anyway, so the BR kind of spreads it out a little bit, you know? So I don't know, I think it's a right call right now, in the sense that the MiG-19, I think it should be a lower BR, and the F-104 as well there, but there is not much sense to keep the Su-25 there. In my opinion, I still think that the MiG-19 should be a 9.7 and the Su-25 should be a 10.0. That would just make sense. The F-100, some of the Sabres as well, they should be a higher BR, because they're stomping right now. For example, the Sabre F-40, it's an aircraft that is very, very good right now, because it faces a lot of down tiers, and it is a 9.0, man, with AIM-9s, and the performance that a Sabre has together with the best turning Sabre, yeah, it's kind of OP, and the MiG-19 will be like that, kind of. It's still superior than the F-100, and it will be superior, I mean, it will be better than most of the 9.0s, 9.3s of the game, and it will face a lot of them. So yeah, there is the thing of like I said, a rock paper scissors kind of thing, because the MiG-19 will be a very fast aircraft, and it doesn't like to be slow, right? Especially against a Sabre or something like that. But it's still, if you have the speed, I always talk about this, that if you have the speed, you have the energy, you can control the battle much, much more easy than in an easier manner than if you don't have it. You can see that, for example, with the more interceptor-like aircraft from the World War II, from the Germans against a Zero, for example. A Zero doesn't have a lot of energy, but it turns like a Zero, right? But then, who is actually choosing the time of attack? Who is actually doing the attacks? Is the Germans, with the TAs or anything like that, for example, or a Bf-109 or something like that. That will be the case with these aircraft. The supersonic aircraft against the subsonic aircraft will always choose the time of attack, and they always will start off the battle against a 1v1 or something like that. It will always start the battle being a little bit more in an advantage compared to the other aircraft. So that's just a problem. It's a less of a problem than a MiG-19 facing a lot of these A-10s and stuff like that. I agree with that. With the AIM-9L, with the R60M, I agree that it is less of a problem that a Sabre is facing a MiG-19 than the MiG-19 facing an R60M, but still it's not optimal. So yeah, it's kind of a weird position that they chose here. As I said, we need a kind of a BR decompression a little bit at least. A lot of people talk about 12.0 or something like that, but I don't agree that they will do that. They will wait and put it like a very slow BR decompression. So first of all, they would add like an 11.7, for example, or something like that, and then a year would pass, and then it would add a 12.0 or something like that. So we need BR decompression, so we have more BRs to spread these aircraft around in these lower BRs. It's not only for the higher tiers, it's also for the lower tiers, because you can actually spread a little bit, and it would be just better in a general sense, that you would face less of a power creep kind of situation, right? So these are my my feedback on the BR changes that are coming. There's still others that I kind of don't understand why. For example, the Harrier GR3 being in 10.0. I don't know why exactly, but yeah, it's a very good aircraft. And the Harrier GR7 being 11.3, I mean, it makes sense. It's a very, very good aircraft in turning. Has AIM-9Ls, so yeah, it's a very, very dangerous aircraft. But anyway, let me know in comments what is your feedback. A lot of people are commemorating that some of these are being lowered, but some of them are actually mad that because of these lowering, some lower BR aircraft will face these supersonics. So what you think about it, let me know in the comments, and I see you guys on the next one. So bye guys, see ya. Subscribe.